I mean, do you think this is going to be a lot of off-ball cutting? Do you think there's going to be a lot of dribble handoff, pick and roll? I mean, what do you see the Heat doing to kind of attack the Laker defense?
They're going to keep doing what got them to the finals, playing to their strengths, pick and roll game, efficient three-point shooting, making the right calls on rotations. You know, they're only playing 8, 9 guys. I do think they need to give the big guys a little more burn based on the matchups, but they just have to keep doing what they're doing and attempt to draw fouls on the king. I've been trying to search how many times LeBron has fouled out in his career, and every website I've gone to has said 8. I mean, I fouled out 3 times waiting for you to join the Zoom. So boggles my mind. But the Heat have to keep playing to their strengths and just know that they have a coach in Erik Spoelstra who is excellent at adjustments and can do things on the fly with the personnel he has. And we are in for one heck of a treat here with this final series. It's kicking off Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I think Spoelstra versus Vogel is the biggest mismatch that the Heat have. There's a huge coaching mismatch. Spoelstra is making his case for best coach in the league right now. I feel this is just one of those times just where my prediction, I just don't feel great about it because my heart kind of tells me that the Heat might make this a real series. And I want to pick the Heat to win in 7. I really do. But I just can't get there, and I will feel like such an idiot if I pick against the Lakers when there's just these 2 guys who have just shown that they are 2 of the best 5 players in the league. They are 2 of the upper echelon super-duper star players. There's this top level where you really have, I think it's like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, and AD, and they're in their own little tier because of their two-way impact. And everyone else is just kind of below. I mean, Giannis, we thought he was there. He showed that he can't be counted on in the half court. You know, Luka, Harden, great offensive players, but defensively just aren't difference makers. And I think the Lakers are just showing, hey, this is the blueprint. We've run this back. You know, you look over the Laker history, Jason, you're going to see a lot of teams run the same way. Magic Johnson, Kareem. Yep. Check the box. Kobe, Shaq. Yep. Same idea here. You know, you go back even to those Celtics teams where you had a more perimeter-oriented Larry Bird and an inside scorer in Kevin McHale. This is just a traditional basketball team. 2 stars that are 2 of the top 5 players, and the rest of the guys play around them. So I'm going to go Lakers in 6. I don't feel great about it. I'm rooting for the Heat. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see an upset here. And I think we'll see what happens game 1. If the Lakers drop game 1, I do think that this could be the type of series where they could get a little tight, especially with the Heat zone. So I think game 1 will be crucial to who wins the series, but I'm going to go Lakers in 6.
You know the Lakers could have had Kawhi. Imagine LeBron, Kawhi, and AD on the same team. That's crazy. But on the record, here on our beloved podcast, well, beloved by you and I, hated by everyone else, except Anthony Puccio, bless his heart. But I'm done picking against the Lakers, man. Like, I picked Portland in 7 until I realized, like, we said back in January when the life of Kobe Bryant was tragically lost in a helicopter accident, along with his daughter, Gianna, and 7 others, that the Lakers just seemed destined to win this thing. And it's like the basketball gods took away their 2 most formidable opponents, the Clippers, avoided them in the conference finals, the Bucks sent home 2 rounds too early. And it just seems like this is LA's year. LeBron will get his 4th title, his 3rd different team. I mean, everyone's talking about, well, Jordan has 6 rings and Kobe has 5, and they played their whole careers with one team. This is not that same NBA. And I think what LeBron has done with 3 organizations, I don't like his knack for foul calls, but what he's done for these 3 organizations, there has not been championships with 2 different teams. We'll try for a 3rd with the Clippers. And LeBron getting 4 with 3 teams, doing what he did for Cleveland, filling Kobe's shoes, getting a title for the Lakers. I mean, this is a way to cap a legacy. If he gets 4 or 5 rings, it doesn't matter. The Lakers win, there's no more conversation about where LeBron sits on the ring pedestal at all. So I'm going to say Lakers in 6 as well. Even though the Heat are a great story, if it weren't for the Kobe angle, I would be rooting for the Heat wholeheartedly, but you just have to see LA win this, man.
Yeah, I mean, we will talk. If the Lakers pull this out, we'll have to talk about LeBron's legacy and if where this puts him in relation to Michael Jordan. But it's going to be a great series, and I just can't wait. For those of you listening, you know, we're recording this on Tuesday night, so we're going to be tuning in tomorrow night. Check it out. Before we go, though, Jason, we do have one more piece of news I think we wanted to touch on really quickly, which was just the Clippers firing Doc Rivers. Obviously, this came as a bit of a surprise. Doc Rivers has been there. He kind of shepherded the team through the Donald Sterling scandal. He was there when it became Lob City with Chris Paul. And now, Jason, he's out. I think we've talked about it. It feels like this is it's very interesting in a lot of ways here because I think both of us felt like he was a bit overrated, but it's also tough because he's almost like an icon for that team that hasn't really had many icons in Clipper history. He really did a great job shepherding through. He's been a tremendous voice in the league, but to me, this is just about coaching. He couldn't quite get it done, and it's hard to say that he got the best out of this team, right, Jason? I mean, at some point, you have Kawhi Leonard, you have Paul George, you have these other guys who are all pretty darn good, and you don't even make it to the conference finals. That's disappointing.
I do want to give Steve Ballmer credit and respect for saying this is a mutual parting of the ways, and I'm using air quotes. They basically let him resign and not calling it a firing. But the truth is, Doc is an incredible leader. You mentioned it, the way he navigated the Donald Sterling mess and getting those guys to play. And I think they would have been in the finals that year had they not been so dragged down by everything that their former owner put them through. Truth be told, he has too long of a leash for a coach that has one championship because he has more blown 3-1 leads than he does titles. Great team in 2008, Pierce, Garnett, Allen, Rondo, but he blew a 3-1 lead as coach of the Magic to the Pistons in 2003, blew 2 3-1 leads with the Clippers in 2015 against the Rockets, and now most recently against Denver. The Nuggets were down by 12, 16, and 19 points, I believe, in games 5, 6, and 7, not particularly in that order, but they should have been in those conference finals. And Doc, I'm sorry to say, is a very overrated head coach. I mean, he just doesn't have it anymore. He has not taken a break. I believe that when he was in between the Magic and Celtics jobs, because his rights were traded to the Clippers, he took a year off and called games for ABC when they were doing the NBA games on Sundays, and he did the finals. But other than that, I mean, he hasn't had a break to have any sort of a life. So I don't know if his days as an NBA head coach are done, but I think Doc needs a break, man. I really do.
I think you're right, and I think his reputation has kind of been above his coaching stature for a little while now, and I think you kind of alluded to that. And, look, I don't want to pour dirt on the guy, but, that Celtics team didn't really need much of a coach. Let's just speak facts here. They had 3 elite players near their primes, and when you look at that Lakers team that they beat, I actually, while the pandemic was going on, I watched that 2008 finals. It is bananas, some of the players who are playing for the Lakers as major rotation pieces. There's a lot of Vladimir Radmanovic in that series where you're like, how the hell is this guy playing in NBA Finals? They're scrubs playing 30 minutes a game for the Lakers. So I feel like he's gotten way too much off of that one ring, and he's a phenomenal voice, but as a coach, I really think the Clippers might have a chance. I'm just going to be really curious to see what they do. I mean, this feels like a Ty Lue situation. It really feels like that kind of marriage. And the other thing for me too, Jason, is whoever that coach is, he's going to have to mend some fences because, there is a lot of reporting coming out now that Lou Williams and other people just had issues with this team. And you're going to have to get those guys together in a room and kind of hash this out. So, more to come on this Clipper story, but for now, let's focus on the finals. And Jason, I'll be looking forward to watching Wednesday night. Do you have any final thoughts before we let the people go?
Just enjoy it. We waited 4 months of no basketball. These players have sacrificed being away from their homes and their families, being in a confined bubble. Teams are down to 2. Let's get it done, and let's get these guys home to their families, and one of them will be crowned a champion. It has been a very tumultuous year for all of us, not just sports, but just everything we're going through. And these guys in the NBA have given us something to distract us, something to watch, and I'm grateful for it. Ben, I know you're going to run, buddy, so we'll be back next week with a show. I don't think the finals will be over a week from tonight, but they'll be pretty close to it. And, just thanks for listening.
And remember to subscribe, rate, and review.
4.5 stars for Ben. 3.5 from me because Ben's a better person.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Enjoy the games, kids.